The starship Eclipse of Dawn hummed softly as it orbited the lush, blue-green planet below. On the observation deck, Zynara, a tall, elegant alien from the technologically advanced Krylos species, leaned against the transparent alloy window. Her iridescent skin shimmered under the soft glow of the ship's interior lights, and her 4 slender arms crossed in a display of mild amusement. She was staring at the human delegation that had just boarded the ship. Humans. Primitive, yet oddly persistent. They had only recently achieved interstellar travel, and their technology was laughably outdated compared to the Krylos Empire. Yet, here they were, strutting onto her ship with their crude gadgets and awkwardly fitting uniforms. Zynara couldn't help but smirk. One of the humans, a young woman with fiery red hair and a determined glint in her eyes, approached Zynara. She carried a small, boxy device in her hands, which she presented with a mix of pride and nervousness. "This," the human said, "is one of our latest advancements in portable weaponry. We call it the pulse emitter. It's designed for precision and minimal collateral damage." Zynara raised an eyebrow, her elongated, almond-shaped eyes narrowing in amusement. She took the device from the human, turning it over in her hands. It was small, barely the size of her palm, and made of a dull, grey metal. It looked like a child's toy compared to the sleek, energy-based weapons her people used. "This?" Zynara said, her voice dripping with condescension. "This is your great advancement? It's adorable. Do you use it to scare off small animals?" The human's cheeks flushed, but she stood her ground. "It may not look like much, but it's highly effective. We've tested it extensively." Zynara chuckled, a melodic sound that echoed through the observation deck. "Oh, I'm sure it's very impressive to your kind. But to us, this is quaint. We've moved beyond such primitive tools centuries ago." The human clenched her jaw but said nothing. Zynara handed the device back to her, clearly unimpressed. "Perhaps one day, your species will catch up. But for now, I suggest you stick to what you're good at, whatever that might be." The human delegation left the observation deck, their heads held high despite the obvious dismissal. Zynara watched them go, shaking her head. Humans. So full of themselves, yet so far behind. A few hours later, the Eclipse of Dawn was en route to a diplomatic outpost when the ship's alarms blared. Zynara rushed to the bridge, her heart pounding. The captain, a stern Krylos with deep blue skin, was barking orders. "We're under attack," he shouted. "Raiders from the Zenthar collective. They've disabled our primary weapons." Zynara's blood ran cold. The Zenthar were ruthless pirates, known for their brutal tactics and advanced technology. Without their primary weapons, the Eclipse of Dawn was vulnerable. The ship shuddered as a barrage of energy bolts struck the hull. The lights flickered, and the crew scrambled to stabilize the systems. Zynara gripped the console, her mind racing. They needed a miracle. Then, she remembered the human delegation. They were still on board, likely hiding in their quarters. Zynara hesitated. Could they possibly help? No, their technology was too primitive. But what other choice did she have? She sprinted to the human's quarters, bursting through the door. The red-haired woman looked up, startled. "What's going on?" she asked. "We're under attack," Zynara said, her voice urgent. "Our weapons are down. Do you have anything at all, that could help?" The human's eyes widened, but she nodded. "The pulse emitter. It's not much, but it might buy us some time." Zynara wanted to laugh. A single, tiny weapon against a Zenthar raiding party? It was absurd. But she had no other options. "Fine," she said. "Bring it." The human delegation followed Zynara to the ship's armory, where the pulse emitter was stored. The red-haired woman quickly attached the device to a larger power source, her fingers flying over the controls. Zynara watched, skeptical but desperate. "This won't work," she muttered. "It's too small, too weak." The human didn't respond. Instead, she activated the device, and a low hum filled the room. The pulse emitter began to glow, a soft blue light emanating from its core. "It's ready," the human said. "But we need to get it close to the raiders' ship. Their shields are too strong for a direct attack." Zynara frowned. "How do you propose we do that?" The human grinned. "We'll need a distraction." The plan was risky, but it was their only chance. The Eclipse of Dawn launched a series of decoy drones, drawing the Zenthar raiders' attention. Meanwhile, a small shuttle, piloted by the red-haired human and Zynara, slipped through the chaos and approached the raiders' ship. Zynara's hands trembled as she guided the shuttle. She couldn't believe she was risking her life on a human's plan. But as they neared the raiders' ship, she saw the pulse emitter in action. The device emitted a series of rapid pulses, each one disrupting the raiders' shields. The human adjusted the frequency, targeting the ship's weak points. Zynara watched in awe as the raiders' shields flickered and failed. "Now," the human shouted. Zynara didn't hesitate. She fired the shuttle's weapons, striking the raiders' ship directly. The explosion lit up the void of space, and the raiders' ship broke apart, debris scattering in all directions. Back on the Eclipse of Dawn, the crew cheered as the raiders retreated. Zynara stood on the bridge, staring at the human with newfound respect. I underestimated you," she admitted. "Your weapon, your plan, it saved us." The human smiled. "Sometimes, it's not about the size of the weapon, but how you use it." Zynara nodded, her earlier arrogance replaced by humility. "Perhaps your species has more to offer than I thought." The human extended her hand. "We're full of surprises." Zynara hesitated, then took the human's hand in her own. "Indeed. And I look forward to learning more about them." As the Eclipse of Dawn continued its journey, Zynara couldn't help but feel a sense of excitement. The humans were primitive, yes, but they were also resourceful, creative, and brave. And in a galaxy full of dangers, those qualities might just be what they needed to survive.